But we're back online. Don't want anybody to miss it, 'cause I was watching it on my phone up there with me, and we had a bunch of people who were watching with us. So I did not want them not to have a chance to be able to tune in. And just to know, if you're watching online, because I do have it up here, and I'm trying to become more technologically sound, you are welcome to comment. So we are, okay, back. All right. Hopefully I'll see their comments as they come in. All right, so 2,000 leagues under the sea. No, it's 20,000 leagues under the sea. 2,000 meters, cubits, yes. Right. Yep. Well, anybody know what a cubit is? How many raise their hand know what a cubit is? 1 cubit? Well, a cubit is from here to here, whatever the king is, their arm. That was what a cubit was. All right, so 2,000 cubits would be about 3,000 feet. Half a mile is 2,600 and some feet. So therefore, about a half a mile distance. So the water had to be that far parted, and then the people came through. Just a massive amount of distance had to be that God did. And why do I hear beeping? Are we still online? Yes. Okay. Great. Well, people are commenting. I don't see it, but hang on. Let's see here. Went out again. Okay, we're back on again. Okay. Craziness. All right. Hello. I'm going to wave and see if I see myself. All right. Okay, we're back on now. Okie dokie. Okay. Technology is wonderful. I'm sorry if you're online, I apologize, but we are trying our best to keep it going. But yeah, that's just a massive amount. Anybody else got something out tonight? Before I give my thoughts. Thoughts about tonight's lesson. Marissa, you got anything? No? Okay, Peggy. If you want to get results, you can't get afraid to have your feet wet. Peggy Saylor. That's a great quote. That's wonderful. Is that your original quote? That came through from the Lord to you. Great. We will copyright that. All right. Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Go ahead, Landon. If you're afraid of something, take 1 step forward, not 2 steps back. That's what God says. And if you do that, God says, I'll be with you. The problem is, why do people take 2 steps back? They're afraid. They also want to see what's going to happen ahead of time. God says, God's a God. Is God a God of the future? Nope. Is God a God of the past? He's the God of the now, right? Remember, everything we do affects the future, and God knows the ends from the beginning. So what we do affects that. So what God knows is what could happen, and good, bad, indifferent, whatever. But as we take a step forward, we get to see God's plan unfold in real time. We get to be part of it. Because what happens? God could ask you to go and could be Joshua took over, right? Could Joshua have said no to God's plan? Absolutely he could have. So we wouldn't have had the book of Joshua, we had the book of somebody else. Real simple. Was David ever supposed to be king? No, Saul was supposed to be king. He was God's first choice. But Saul what? He rejected following God. And God says that he actually regretted making Saul king. And then David became king. Did God have a plan for David? Sure. But David's plans changed because Saul's plans changed. So God had to call on someone else. We all have a purpose in this church to do different things. We all have to do mighty things for the Lord. And we can all lead somebody, whether it's one person or 20 people or whatever, or 100 people, whatever it is. We can do mighty things, but here's the thing. It's like, but I'm not doing what this person's doing. And it's whatever God has for you, you got to do your part. Now, if you don't do your part, God will find someone to do your part, but that person's part now changed to do something else. Imagine if God didn't have to keep changing parts. The church could go forward in a much mightier way. You know, and it comes down to this, and people go down, well, what's my part, Lord? And a lot of people they're either afraid, or what the other reason why they don't follow God's call. Lazy, yeah, what? They want to, yeah, this job's beneath me, right? You know how important it is. I actually had a person left this church. When I first came here, we tried 3 or 4 times to start small groups. Now they're actually really, hey, by the way, today, if you want to join the Part-Timers class, there's already 10 people signed up on the first day. On a holiday weekend. Wow, that's great. No kids allowed. So you can have kids, you just got to find someone to watch them. All right, so, but it's going to be a great thing. But here's the thing, and so this lady came up to me, and she was all mad at me after she'd been here about 6 months. And what I did when I first came here, I called everybody and asked everybody what they'd like to do. It was only like 50 people then, so it was easy to call everybody and what they wanted to do. And she told me some of the things she likes to do. So I picked one of the things she liked to do and said, would you like to lead this? And she said, yes, I want to lead that. That was great. 6 months later, she comes back to me and she leaves the church. And she's mad at me. And so I talked to her, and she talked. You didn't think much of me. You put me in charge of this one thing, and I could do so much more. I could do this and that. I'm like, you first, number one, you didn't tell me you want to do this, that, and the other thing. And when I asked you about doing this, you gleefully said yes. And she said, but you asked me though. I saw what you asked other people to do. And I'm more important than them. Then I knew why God didn't ask me to do her to do other things. Does that make sense? Here's the thing. Everything in the church is absolutely important. Like Sunday nights, we have someone who watches the kids. Tonight, she gets to be in the class because there's no kids here tonight. That's okay. But you know what? Without that, some people can't come to different classes. You know, we have these different things. You know, people that help out. We're going to have VBS, and there's going to be some kids that are going to be snotty and disrespectful and going to do things because we invite kids from all over the community here. And let's be honest, most VBSs are glorified babysitting services. From 6 to 8, babysitting's over. Okay, I can take them there for 2.5 hours. Okay, that's how it works. I was a children's pastor 20 years, trust me, I know. We used to bring 200-300 kids to our VBSs, and I knew at least 2/3 of them were, the parents were never going to come to church. They just wanted us to have the free. We had ours in the morning. We had ours ours was a whole day. We started at 7 in the morning and went to 7 at night. Bernice said I'm brave. I was 25 years old when I started doing that. I was stupid. Brave is not the word, okay? We even charged for it. But you know what? For 12 hours, it was cheaper than any babysitting service out there. And I remember the first year I did it, we had 105 kids show up the first year, and we had this one 5-year-old come. Who has not heard the Williams story? Oh, a lot of you haven't heard the Williams story. Let me tell you the Williams story. Those of you who haven't heard the Williams story, please laugh when need be. Okay. William, we're our first camp, and so what we did is in the middle of the day, we go somewhere fun for 3 or 4 hours, because that was my thought. At least we can go somewhere, they're corralled, and I don't have to worry about them. So we went to this water park, and all the counselors had a group of kids with them. And there was one group of 5- and 6-year-old boys that my friend Nelson Weatherington, he and his wife Ann were in charge of these 5 little boys. And basically, there was a kids' part, and it has doors. You can't get in and out. Once they were in there, you're in there. And I told everybody at the end of the day, when you hear the bus, when you hear me on the speaker say, Ocean Way Assembly of God, everybody go to your counselor, line up. Now, we had kids from 5 years old up to 6th grade. Go with your counselor and get in line with them and come out to the bus. Well, at 5 o'clock, I made the announcement, Everybody walks out to the bus. Then we get everybody onto the bus. And we had 3 buses, and I'm going on, and we're calling the names on each bus. All right, and if you're on the bus, you're supposed to say you're here, so we know you're on the bus before we go back to the church and have dinner. And this one, and we got through the whole thing, and one boy wasn't there. His name was William. And so we went to the other 2 buses. No William. Nelson, he's freaking out. He was right here, and we're like wondering what in the world happened. So what happened is we go on the loudspeaker at the park, and no boy comes forward in that. So then we tell the lifeguards. So they're all scouring the park. It's now a half hour later, and the kids we got now it's Jacksonville, Florida, 100-degree heat. Okay, no air conditioning on the buses. Have you met a school bus that has air conditioning? I haven't yet. School districts are cheap. Okay. So, but here's the deal. So I told the 3 buses to go back, and me and the evangelist, my friend Volpe, we're there, and we're like, and we got all the lifeguards, and we're all scouring the park, okay, looking for this kid. I'm just wondering, what am I going to tell this parent? I'm going to jail. All these thoughts are going through my head, and so we go through, and finally, 3 lifeguards bring William out. One has his head, one has his body, and one has his legs. They bring him out to me. Put him down in front of me. And I said, William, I love you. And then in my head I said, I want to kill you. Did you not hear the announcement? Yes, I heard it. Did you get in line with Mr. Wetherington? Oh, yeah, I was right beside him. I was first in line. I was the line leader. Did you go out to the bus? Yes, I did. What happened? Well, you told me to get in line and go out to the bus. Once I got to the bus, I figured I was free to go back in the park. Oh, it gets better. And I said, William, did you hear us calling your name on the loudspeaker? He's like, yes. Why didn't you come forward? I didn't want to go. Gets better. Did you not see us all over the park, the lifeguards and us, looking for you, calling out your name? Yes. So I went to the wave pool and got behind the biggest guy I could so you couldn't see me. The lifeguards found him and then brought him out. This is an hour and 15 minutes later. So we go back to the church. Everybody else is eating dinner. Dinner's gone. They're in the middle of the service. And me, like a dummy, invites the parents to watch the services. So William's mom and dad are there. And I'm like, oh, it's not going to be good. The good news is I walked in the door. His mom was there. And his mom said, it figures. And at that moment, something clicked. And I'm like, what do you mean it figures? Oh, he does this all the time. You didn't want to tell me about this. and these people have been in the church for quite a while. Like, oh yeah, he just does his own thing. Next year, William's parents were chaperones. But it was so where was I going? Oh, everybody has a job to do. Everybody has a job to do, like VBS tomorrow night. And people sometimes think, well, what I'm doing doesn't push the church forward. How do you know? If God asks you to do it, do it. Sometimes God will ask you to do something that you will think is below you. Because what's God doing? He's seeing, do you really trust Him? God, I will do this anyways. Yes, God, I will change poopy diapers. No, that's below me. How many people, think about that. More people will complain about something than do something. Maybe you come to church and you see something in the parking lot. A lot of times people come to me, I can't believe you allow that to stay in the parking lot. I'm thinking, why didn't you pick it up? Right? Right? We're only one person. Things happen, right? Maybe God's seeing if you'll do that. Will you be willing to do the lowest thing? Everybody wants to go to the top, don't they? And the world teaches you can go right to the top, right? Actually, I was watching a TV show today. My daughter's watching this show. I like the show. It's Girl Meets World, but They had a lesson today about how it's all about yourself. Well, in the Bible, that's the opposite, right? That's why people don't, and why we don't help one another out. And we do that, we'll see the church go forward. Anybody else got something for tonight's lesson? Well, I had neat things. He talked about consecrating yourself. It means staying clean before God. Do we spend a lot of time staying clean? It's kind of neat that he brought that up because the last couple of weeks we've been talking about that in church. Today we talked about for America to become great again, it really needs to become righteous again, right? Another word for righteous is clean. Are you clean before your God? Now, clean doesn't mean you're spotless and white as snow, because we still do things. But are you trying to be clean? The question is, a lot of people say, I'm good. I'm a good person. I didn't ask if you're a good person. I asked, are you clean? Good people still sin. Good people do things wrong. A good person says they're a good person because they know, why does a good person tell you they're good? Because they did something wrong, but they don't want you to know about it. That's usually what someone says, I'm a good person. Well, I know I've done things wrong, but I've done enough good things to overcompensate for the bad things. Well, try to keep score with that, right? God keeps score really good. Malachi 3:16, he has a book of remembrance of everything you've done. You know what God does? He writes it all down. Even God writes things down. Isn't that great? I should learn from that. Yesterday, my wife called me on her way home from seeing her mom for the 4th of July, and she said, did you do the 2 things I asked you to do? The answer was, no, I wasn't that dumb, Bernice. I was not that dumb. But yeah, I got them done, I think, yeah, it's going to be taken care of, dear. Yeah, And then I sit down and rack my brain, and I was good enough to make sure. Sometimes I rack my brain and done things I wasn't told to do, just to cover the bases, right? 2 things. I need to do 5 or 6 things, so I get the 2 right done, right? But yeah, because God, clean. And then he said here, you never know what God will do something amazing tomorrow. It's amazing. What you do today will affect the tomorrows or the next hour of your life. The amazing. Are we looking for the amazing, or are we looking for tomorrow and dreading it? One of the things in the American side that kills us is this wonderful 2-word phrase. Anybody want to guess what it is? Can't wait. That's another version of it. Well, what if? What if that happens? What if that goes on? What if this? What about this? What about that? What about that? What about that? You know what? Can't wait's actually a positive version of that phrase, but what if or what about is pretty much a negative connotation, right? Well, what if God does something? What a different way to live when you wake up in the morning. Even if, okay? Yeah. And the only way you do that is to actually put one foot in front of the other and say, I'm going to what do you got for me today, God? And God, I choose to live clean before you. A great way to be clean? It's one of 2 things. You've been here long enough. What do I do every night before I go to bed? Right, what? Ask the Lord for my scorecard for today. Could I have done anything better? Yes. But I also do this, my version of the sinner's prayer. Whether I've sinned or not, because I want to, because that, what happens? I know when I go to bed, I shouldn't be sinning while I'm asleep. I fall asleep within 5 minutes. My wife hates that. Sometimes within seconds of hitting the head on the pillow. I have that great ability to fall asleep anytime, anywhere. It's a wonderful gift. Especially when the kids are fighting. It's a marvelous gift to just put your head back and tune out of the situation. Though when I wake up, it doesn't do so well for me and Joanne. She'll be at dinner tonight. She's home helping Greg get set up and all that. But a lot, but you have all these things going on in your lives, and you do that before you go to bed, or the first thing in the morning. Guess what? I wake up, I know I'm clean. Because I'm not, sin is when you do something intentionally wrong. When you're asleep and you're knocked out, you're not doing anything intentionally wrong. You know beyond the doubt of a doubt. Even if you did something, maybe you didn't sin, maybe you did something you didn't please God, you've pushed that reset button. I like to do that because I wake up in the morning clean, and I know I'm clean. Okay, we talked about rolled up as a significant individual. That got to be rolled up. I mean, imagine the waters rolled up. They weren't just parted. They were rolled up, or in some versions stacked up. I mean, you ever seen water stacked? I've never seen water stacked. So, I mean, I just wonder how that... Yeah, it's, yeah. It doesn't just stay there. I have tried many times at the beach to keep the water from destroying my sandcastle. I cannot stop it. I've even tried it something. It says, whatever you want, ask in God's name to happen. Lord, stop the water. And then God tells me, dude, that has nothing to do with the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's going to kill your sandcastle. One day I put Jesus on my sandcastle, see if it would work. Nope, didn't work. So that's no fun. I could put it out of the water line, it would last, but I want to see if I can keep it alive. I just do dumb things. Okay, I just do that. Okay. From the 4 takeaways I had tonight, number 1 was sometimes it doesn't make sense in the moment. God, that's what you want me to do? I don't think that's going to work. It's like, but you know what? If it made sense to you, you wouldn't need God, would it? Would you? If God's going to do something great, I'm going to guarantee you it's not going to make sense to you. Might not make sense because something great might not going to make sense. I'm going to go help with the babies, or I'm going to go help clean the church, or I'm going to help do it. Might not make sense. Like this morning we talked about, hey, the government does something wrong. Instead of complaining about it, what's the first thing you should do? Pray about it, right? God, please help my leaders. Please help what's going on. It changes the atmosphere, right? That's our word of the year, right? The atmosphere. Can we do that? We have the power to do that, but can we? Will we? Now, the other takeaway, we talked about this a lot already. Take that one step, right? Just take that step. And then I like the 4th one he said, though. The last thing he said tonight. Just because God does a miracle doesn't mean there won't be obstacles to overcome. Hey, God did this great miracle. Now I'm faced with an obstacle. But here's the deal. Obstacles are going to be there because what are the obstacles for? God creates obstacles for 3 reasons. Anybody know why? Want to guess? Yeah, helps us to grow, right? So we don't become Veruca Salts, right? Spoiled brats, right? We could become that way. And you know what? When we climb the mountain and God goes, hey, that's great, and you get to the top of whatever you're going to, you're like, God, man, this is amazing. I did this with you. And here's the thing. You're going to think you did 90% of it, and really you probably did 10% of it. But God lets you think that because he's a good father. But he likes you to have that sense of fulfillment. There's 2 other reasons God allows obstacles. Janet. Oh, yeah. How many times do we go in a direction? Man, God stopped me from going there. I can't believe. Yeah, because sometimes he knows if you keep going in that direction, you're going to run off the edge of the cliff. What's the 3rd reason why obstacles happen in our spiritual walks? Marissa. So he can show us his power. That's good. Keep going. That's all you got. Oh, you're so close. So close. That's good. Yeah, it's to show his power through us for what reason? His glory? For others. Yes. Because here's the thing. Everybody else deals with obstacles too. It's one thing to go through life and not ever have to go with obstacles. Another thing, if you can go over those obstacles in a single bound on July 11th, like Superman, right? New Superman movie coming out next week. I'm not looking forward to it. I like the original, but the OG, you got it. But here's the thing: when other people see us going over the obstacle and getting over the obstacle, they realize they're just like us, but there's a difference. We have something that's helping us. Not an it, but a who. and they get to see God in real life. But a lot of people want anybody ever prayed for the power of God in your life? You ever prayed for it? Yeah, you have? Okay. If you pray for the power of God in your life, what are you also praying for? Obstacles, aren't you? Because if everything's flat, right? Do you need the power of God to go forward? No. When a river comes in front of you, or a mountain comes in front of you, or an opposition comes in front of you, you need the power of God. So if you're praying for the power of God, you're also praying for a chance to use that power. Here's what happens. People pray for the power of God, and then God puts the immovable object in front of them, and then they go, God, I can't believe it. I can't do it. God's like, you asked for power. I'm giving you a chance to use it. Yes, his power, but he gives us the ability to use it, right? But then we walk backwards, don't we? We take those 2 steps back, don't we? And then we complain about God. God, I prayed for your power, and you gave me a big stone. Well, speak to the mountain. Speak to that river. Go to that flood zone and put your foot in it and see what happens. See, power does no good unless you have something to use it on. That's the problem with a lot of Christianity today. People go to all these conferences, go to all these things, and they want that fuzzy feeling, and they get that fuzzy feeling, and then it leaves as soon as they get it because here's the thing, God gave you, he touched you, but if you don't do anything with it, he's not so apt to give you the fuzzy feeling again. Because he's now giving you the power to go out and do something, and go out and conquer one of those obstacles in your life. You have the power. Remember from the 1980s, He-Man, right? I have the power! What, you're looking at me, I'm crazy. Well, okay, this is one person. I mean, anybody's from the 80s, you had to see. It's like the classic cartoon of the 80s. She makes you watch He-Man? Makes you watch He-Man? You can't stop. Yeah, it was, yeah. But here's the thing, but that's what God says. We have it, but then when we do something with it. A lot of people miss an opportunity to be used of God from the power of God, the Holy Spirit power, for one simple reason. They get that feeling, and then an obstacle comes up, and they think the obstacle is from the devil. But it's God putting you in a place to be able to use the power you've been given to do 3 things. Number 1, see God work through you. Number 2, have that feeling of accomplishment and knowing that your relationship with God has gotten even better. And number 3, to show those who don't yet have a relationship with Jesus, this is where it's at. So does that make sense? So when you come out and you leave here on a high, you should want to go do something. And when that stone barrier, here in our Joshua study, it's a river, right? It's a river. Oh man, that water's everywhere. It's kind of been a theme in this country the last few months, hasn't it? The different things. Yeah, I heard about Texas, right? I think 83 have died now. And no one saw it coming. It just massively in a short amount of time. Maybe our next mission trip's going to be to Texas. I was talking to Greg today when he came in. He's going to join us at dinner tonight. If you want to know more about Asheville, he'll tell you about there's still people living in tents. Year later, 21st century in the United States. He says on his road is still, part of his road is still only a narrow stretch where there's the stops on each end. You have to take turns going through because the part that washed out they still haven't fixed. A year later in America. But here's the thing, but the power of God is being shown in mighty ways, doing all kinds of things. But can we take that? But it doesn't have to go somewhere. You can do it right here in your workplace or your family or your kid, or your friends. They're going through something. Hey, God, I want to help them. Well, then God will give you the power. Then go help them through it. Drama is not always the rock. It could be drama. Our country loves to have drama, right? You're all laughing at me, right? Drama comes up everywhere, right? It's amazing. Everybody hates drama, but everybody brings it up. You ever notice that? Yeah. Hmm? Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. But pointing out there, it's a sad thing there. And that's an obstacle, right? But you've overcome it. But you can also use that for God's glory. Because you can tell your friends, hey, you really don't know when the end's going to be. I got a good movie for you to show the youth group on next time you have. It's about exactly what happened. It's a true story. It's called Without Reservation. It's from the 80s. Well, wait till you're back, Landon. How's that? I got the movie. I can show it anytime. We don't have it this Wednesday because of VBS. We're talking like a couple weeks from now. Yeah, this youth group. Yeah, this week no youth group Wednesday night because of VBS. So you're welcome to come and help with the children. So I'm sure Susie will take the help. But here's the thing. We look at that. And, yeah, it's a terrible thing. But life is short. People go. Especially people your age, Landon. They think they got their whole life in front of them. You never know what will happen. Right. So that's right. And don't take a chance on Jesus. You have a friend, hey, tell them, hey, they need to know Jesus. Because here's the thing, and remember, life is short, forever is long. And can we, we can either let that destroy us, or we can use it to say, hey, I'm gonna use it for God's glory. All right. Anybody else have any questions? I really enjoyed those 4 takeaways tonight. I thought that was really neat. So next week, we'll be doing Joshua 4 and 5. So if you want to read ahead and know where we're in the story, Joshua chapters 4 and 5. So right now I'm going to pray, and then we're going to head on down to Wendy's. And Greg he said, I got to unpack and everything. I'm going to say, if you want to go to Wendy's, yeah, we're going to go. Oh, yeah, I'm going to Wendy's. Yeah, so I'm going to go pick up Greg and my wife, and we'll meet you all down there. Dear Lord, we thank you for today. I ask you to bless us, Lord. Bless our fellowship time, Lord. Thank you for this great class. And Lord, just let those things permeate into us, Lord, about how we can do great things for you. And all we got to do is simple things. Stay clean. Say, I'm going to take that first step. I'm going to do what you asked me to do, and then see what you will do through me. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, remember, Jesus loves you. I love you, and you are awesome.